Good evening and welcome to the International Great Black Read Aloud Day 2026. And this is day 8, and it's our art day. And so our selection for today is coming up. But first, we want to say thank you for tuning in and listening to us as we give voice to words written by Black people all around the world. We are here to educate, the explore, to encourage, I should say, the exploration, purchase, and reading of books written by Black authors. And so this year we are really excited. We've got some fresh faces that will be joining us throughout the rest of the month. And we hope you'll tune in for those as we read as we read works written on different genres in literature. Excuse me. Well, tonight is art. It's day 8 and it's art day. And our selection for tonight is coming from the Harlem Renaissance. And we'll put up it's a collection. And let me put up our banner, put up our cover so that you can see our cover. And here's our cover for tonight. And it's Harlem Renaissance, the classic collection. And we will be exploring a couple of pieces from this. And we hope you continue to tune in. Thank you. Well, our first selection is from none other than Langston Hughes. And Langston Hughes has shown up on our list multiple times for different things, either whether it's poetry, some type of he just shows up. He keeps showing up, and there's a good reason for that because um, he really was at the forefront of the Harlem Renaissance. And the Harlem Renaissance represented everything with the arts, whether it was writing, whether it was theater, whether it was dance, all whether it was song, all these different types of art were represented in the Harlem Renaissance. And so Langston Hughes being one of those with a very colorful life, he was a great contributor, and certainly I think he's probably the face of the Harlem Renaissance. Okay, and so we're going to read from our first selection, which will be from Langston Hughes. But before we get to that, there's a very interesting piece written by a gentleman that talks about an introduction to Langston Hughes, and so it's titled "Introducing Langston Hughes to the Reader." At the moment, I cannot recall the name of any other person whatever who, at the age of 23, has enjoyed so picturesque and rambling an existence as Langston Hughes. Indeed, a complete account of his disorderly and delightfully fantastic career would make a fascinating picaresque romance, which I hope this young Negro will write before so much befalls him that he may find it difficult to capture all the salient episodes within the limits of a single volume. Born on February the 1st, 1902 in Joplin, Missouri, he had lived before his 12th year in the city of Mexico, Topeka, Kansas, Colorado Springs, Charlestown. I'm sorry, in the city of Mexico, Topeka, Kansas, Colorado Springs, Charlestown, Indiana, Kansas City, and Buffalo. He attended Central High School, from which he graduated at Cleveland, Ohio. While in the summer there, and in Chicago, he worked as a delivery and dummy boy in hat stores. In his senior year, he was elected class poet and editor of the yearbook. After 4 years in Cleveland, he once more joined his father in Mexico, only to migrate to New York, where he entered Columbia University. There, finding the environment distasteful, or worse, he remained till spring, when he quit, broke with his father, and with $13 in cash, went on his own. First, he worked for a truck farmer on Staten Island. Next, he delivered flowers for Thorley. At length, he partially satisfied an insatiable craving to go to sea by signing up with an old ship anchored in the Hudson for the winter. His first real cruise as a sailor carried him to the Canary Islands, the Azores, and the west coast of Africa, of which voyage he has written, "Oh, the sun in Dakar! Oh, the little black girls of Barutu! Oh, the blue, blue bay of Loanda! Calabar, the city lost in a forest! The long, shining days at sea! the masts rocking against the stars at night, the black crewboy sailors taken at Freetown, bathing on deck morning and evening. Tom Pay and Henio, whose dangerous job it was to dive under the 7-ton mahogany logs floating and bobbing at the ship's side and fasten them to the chains of the crane. The vile houses of rotting women at Lagos, the desolation of the Congo, Johnny Walker, and the millions of whiskey bottles buried in the sea along the west coast. The daily fights on board, officers, sailors, everybody drunk. The timorous, frightened missionaries we carried as passengers, and George, the Kentucky colored boy, dancing and singing the blues on the afterdeck under the stars. Returning, end quote. Returning, returning to New York with plenty of money and a monkey, he presently shipped again, this time for Holland. Again he came back to New York, and again he sailed on his 22nd birthday, February 1st, 1924. 3 weeks later, he found himself in Paris with less than $7. However, he was soon provided for. A woman of his own race engaged him as a doorman at her boîte de nuit. Later, he was employed first as a second cook, then as a waiter at the Grand Duke, where the Negro entertainer Florence sang at this epoch. Here he made friends with an Italian family who carried him off to their villa at Desenzano on Lago di Garda, where he passed a happy month, followed by a night in Verona and a week in Venice. On his way back across Italy, his passport was stolen, and he became a beachcomber in Genoa. He has described his life there to me, quote, wine and figs and pasta, and sunlight, and amusing companions, dozens of other beachcombers roving the dockyards and waterfront streets, getting their heads whacked by the fascisti, and breaking one loaf of bread into so many pieces that nobody got more than a crumb. I lived in the public gardens along the waterfront and slept in the Albergo Popolare for 2 lire a night amidst the snores of hundreds of other derelicts. I painted my way home as a sailor. It seems that I must have painted the whole ship myself. We made a regular Grand tour. Livorno, Napoli. We passed so close to Capri, I could have cried. I understand that. Then all around Sicily, Catania, Messina, Palermo, the Lipari Islands, miserable little peaks of pumice stone out of the sea. Then across to Spain, divine Spain. My buddy and I went on a spree in Valencia for a night and a day. Oh, the sweet wine of Valencia. He arrived in New York on November the 10th, 1924. That evening, I attended a dance given in Harlem by the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, otherwise known as the NAACP. Sometime during the course of the night, Walter White asked me to meet 2 young Negro poets. He introduced me to Countee Cullen and Langston Hughes. Before that moment, I had never heard of either of them. I have merely sketched a primitive outline of a career as rich in adventures as a fruitcake is full of raisins. I have already stated that I hope Langston Hughes may be persuaded to set it down on paper in the minutest detail for the bullfights in Mexico, the drunken gaiety of the Grand Duke, the delicately exquisite grace of the little black girls at Bruto, the exotic languor of the Spanish women at Valencia, the barbaric jazz dances of the cabarets in New York's own Harlem, the companionship of sailors of many races and nationalities, all have stamped an indelible impression on the highly sensitized, poetic imagination of this young Negro, an impression which has found its initial expression in the poems assembled in this book. And also herein may be discerned that nostalgia for color and warmth and beauty which explains this boy's nomadic instincts. We should have a land of sun, of gorgeous sun, and a land of fragrant water, where the twilight is a soft bandana handkerchief of rose and gold, and not this land where life is cold. He sings, again he tells his dream, to fling my arms wide in the face of the sun, dance, whirl, whirl, till the quick day is done. Rest at pale evening, a tall, slim tree, night coming tenderly, black like me. More of this wistful longing may be discovered in the poems entitled The South and As I Grew Older. His verses, however, by no means limited to an exclusive mood. He writes caressingly of the little black prostitutes in Harlem. His cabaret songs throb with a true jazz rhythm. His sea pieces ache with a calm, melancholy lyricism. He cries bitterly from the heart of his race in Cross and the Jester. He sighs in one of the most successful of his fragile poems over the loss of a loved friend. Always, however, his stanzas are subjective, personal. They are I had almost said informal, for they have a highly deceptive air of spontaneous improvisation, expression of an essentially sensitive and subtly elusive nature, seeking always to break through the veil that appears for him, at least in some degree, the ultimate needs of that nature. To the Negro race in America, since the day when Phyllis Wheatley indited lines to General George Washington and other aristocratic figures. For Phyllis Wheatley never sang My Way's Cloudy or By and By I'm Going to Lay Down This Heavy Load. There have been born many poets: Paul Laurence Dunbar, James Weldon Johnson, Claude McKay, Jean Toomer, Georgia Douglas Johnson, Countee Cullen. Are a few of the more memorable names. Not the least of these names, I think, is that of Langston Hughes, and perhaps his adventures and personality offer the promise as rich a fulfillment as has been the lot of any of the others. And that was written by Carl Van Vechten in New York on August the 3rd, 1925. And so our first selection from Langston Hughes, excuse me. Our first selection from Langston Hughes is Jazzonia. Oh, silver tree, oh, shining rivers of the soul, in a Harlem cabaret, 6 long-headed jazzers play. A dancing girl whose eyes are bold lifts high a dress of silken gold. Oh, singing tree, oh, shining rivers of the soul. Were Eve's eyes in the first garden just a bit too bold? Was Cleopatra gorgeous in a gown of gold? O shining tree, O silver rivers of the soul, in a whirling cabaret, 6 long-headed jazzers play. And so we said before that the Harlem Renaissance was really representative of all the types of art that were going on. Really, when we think about it, songs are words, they're poetry put to music, and many of these things were represented in all the different clubs and meeting places and groups and social clubs and things like that, and during the Harlem Renaissance. And so we are delighted to be able to share these with you. Our next selection from Mr. Hughes is Cabaret. Does a jazz band ever sob? They say a jazz band's gay. Yet as the vulgar dancers whirled and the one night wore away, one said she heard the jazz band sob when the little dawn was gray. And our last selection, and from Langston Hughes, is Nude Young Dancer. And I'm going to turn this because I want you to see that some of the art that has been shown along with this. I don't think you can see that. That's not good. All right. I'll turn it around. And maybe you could see it a little bit. Maybe. Okay. That's about as much as I can get. All right. So this one is Nude Young Dancer. And then we're going to go to our next selection. What jungle tree have you slept under? Midnight dancer of the jazzy hour. What great forest has hung its perfume like a sweet veil about your bower? What jungle tree have you slept under? Night dark girl of the swaying hips. What star-white moon has been your mother? To what clean boy have you offered your lips? And so those are our selections from Langston Hughes. And then our next selection is going to be from Jean Toomer. And let me just get to my spot here. And we're going to read just a little bit about him as well, because, of course, that's what we are doing. Actually, we don't have an intro for him, but let's go with our one that we have bookmarked here. I think we'll just do what we came to do. How about that? All right. We're going to read Cotton Song. Come, brother, come, let's lift it. Come now, hew it, roll away. Shackles fall upon the judgment day, but let's not wait for it. God's body's got a soul. Bodies like to roll the soul. Can't blame God if we don't roll. Come, brother, roll, roll. Cotton bales are the fleecy way. Weary sinners, bare feet trod. Softly, softly to the throne of God. We ain't gonna wait till the judgment day. Nasser, Nasser, roll away. We ain't gonna wait till the judgment day. God's body's got a soul. Bodies like to roll the soul. Can't blame God if we don't roll. Come, brother, roll, roll. And so our next selection is from Song of the Sun, and it has the artwork with it, but it doesn't show up really well when I'm reading on the digital. Okay. So our selection, this is from Toomer Cane, and it is Song of the Sun. Pour, oh, pour that parting soul in song. Oh, pour it in the sawdust glow of night, into the velvet pine smoke air tonight. And let the valley carry it along. Let the valley carry it along. O land and soul, red soul and sweet gum tree, so scant of grass, so profligate of pines. Now just before an epic sun declines, thy sun in time I have returned to thee. Thy son I have in time returned to thee. In time, for though the sun is setting on a song-lit race of slaves, it has not set. Though late, O soul, it is not too late yet. To catch thy plaintive soul, leaving, soon gone. Leaving to catch thy plaintive soul, soon gone. O Negro slaves, dark purple ripened plums, squeezed and bursting into the pinewood air, passing before they stripped the old tree bare. One plum was saved for me, one seed becomes an everlasting song, a singing tree, caroling softly souls of slavery, what they were and what they are to me, caroling softly souls of slavery. And our last selection is from him as well. And so let's read that. And this one is titled Evening Song. Full moon rising on the waters of my heart, lakes and moon and fires, clawing tires, holding her lips apart. Promises of slumber leaving shore to charm the moon. Miracle made vesper keeps, cloying sleeps, and I'll be sleeping soon. Cloying, curled like the sleepy waters where the moon waves start. Radiant, resplendently she gleams, cloying dreams, lips pressed against my heart. And this has been our selection for today. It is day 8 in art, and poetry is art. And a number of things were poetry and art have always gone together. We always say that, kind of art speaks to me, that picture speaks to me. And so every piece of art says something, just like every song says something. Every poem says something, just like every piece of art says something. And so they're all intertwined, being this thing that is art. And across the African diaspora, we have artists who do all kinds of things, um, from um, poetry to song to art, mixed media. And when I'm talking art, I'm talking paintings and sculptures and all kinds of things. And so we hope that not only in the course of reading about the different types of art that is produced by Black people, is that you also go out and see the art that's produced by Black people, that you go to shows, that you go to the theater, that you go to exhibits, and and go to concerts, and you embrace all these different types of ways that we communicate about the world around us and the lives that we live and the things that we experience, the places that we travel. All those things are art. One could say that, Langston Hughes and the Harlem Renaissance really was art come alive, right? um, in a very lasting way, because we are still 100 years later, we are still talking about the Harlem Renaissance and its impact upon culture um, at large. And so this has been our selection for tonight. We will see you tomorrow, which is day 9. It's Raising Children. And so we have a couple of selections. We've got a guest reader tomorrow. How about that? We're excited about that. And so we hope you will tune in. We'll post the time that our reading is going to happen. And we will see you tomorrow here on the International Great Black Read Aloud Day 2026, as we call it, TIGBRAD. And we'll see you tomorrow. I'm LD Robinson, your reader for today. And we'll be back tomorrow for something good. Keep giving voice to words written by Black people all around the world.